Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite MLB home run predictions for today. We're talking Sunday, June 15th. I'm going to have three home run picks for you guys to lock in for today's MLB betting slate. So, yes, the Dong Report is back in your life. Before we get into all that stuff, let's talk about yesterday. Finally, we had a good day. Finally, I had been desperately needing a day like yesterday, and we had it. Two of my guys hit a home run. Thank you to Ronald Acuna Jr. Thank you to Max Kepler. We are up 2 units on the Dong Report yesterday. The only guy that we did not get was the long shot, Alejandro Kirk. He did not come through. Didn't even really come close. Kind of a gross game for him. So that would have been nice if we had gotten all three, but that's okay. Good day overall. Up 2 units on the Dong Report. That now brings our results on the year. We're still down because, we had 8 weeks of just absolute darkness. But hey, we had a good day yesterday. That brings our losses down 5 units on the year, down about 6% ROI on the year as well. We'll need a couple more days like yesterday to get ourselves in the green on the year, but it's at least a nice place to start. So for those of you that have been rocking with me, hopefully you were also able to tail yesterday so you didn't just get all bad. But I do appreciate everybody who has been rocking with me. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff so we can talk about today's dongs. First, we'll just go quickly through the weather. Not a ton of great weather games, according to both sources that I look at. Both Weather Edge and Ballpark Pal are kind of low on the weather today. Only 2 games in the green, according to Ballpark Pal. But if you look at it from a weather perspective, not a single one. They don't have a single game in the green from a weather perspective. But there are some good home run stadiums, which is why you saw 2 games in the green in terms of combined. So that's not great. According to Weather Edge, some agreement, although they do think that's they do have a little bit of a disagreement on the Reds Tigers plus 11%, according to Weather Edge. Ballpark Pal has that at plus 4%. So they're both in the positive. So I'm even going to call it a disagreement. They're both in the positive. Slightly in the positive for the Nats, which I believe is kind of in a little bit of a disagreement, but the Nats have a slightly hitter-friendly home run park. And then the Orioles slightly in the red, according to Weather Edge. Ballpark Pal has that also in the red, but even more so. But it's a decent stadium for home runs, especially in that left field. Granted, it's the wind's blowing in, but regardless, not a great day from a weather perspective. We don't need to go too much into it. That's all I'm trying to say here. The first play that we are locking in here, give me James Wood to hit a home run. He is best offered at plus 420 odds at FanDuel. That is the best offered price on James Wood. Now, it looks like that already moved down to 400 at FanDuel. I would still take that. If you could still get 400 at FanDuel, I would still take it. And then if you can use any of these, what I like to call Mickey Mouse books, Ballybet, Unibet, Bet Parks, Bet Rivers, Sugar House, I think is that one is. I don't even know what this one is. 410, obviously I'm good with that as well. Now, Wood, he didn't do anything at the plate yesterday. He had 0 hard hits. The day before that, he destroyed the baseball. I mean, we're talking 3 hits above 109 miles per hour, 1 home run that traveled 450 feet. That was sent to the absolute moon. Then he had another flyout that was 370 feet, 103.4 miles per hour off the bat. So he did not do anything yesterday, but again, he had an awesome day at the plate 2 days ago. And he's just been hot in general. You look at James Wood over the last, let me zoom in a little bit here. Over the last 30 days, James Wood against right-handed pitching, barrel rate of 20%. James Wood barrel rate in general over the last 30 days, about 20%. That's really, really good. Hard hit rate is high as well. The K rate is also high. So his percentage numbers are always going to look a little bit better if you're striking out a lot. Granted, he strikes out actually a little bit more against righties, but it's also because he's swinging for the fences. So we can accept that a little bit. But again, an awesome barrel rate, a little bit of a high ground ball rate. But as you saw, he put the ball in the air a couple times recently. And when you're hitting the ball that hard, that frequently, you can accept a little bit of a higher ground ball rate. Because if you hit the ball hard 3 times, one of those is put in the air, that's kind of all you're looking for. Now, the pitcher he's going up against, a little bit of an unknown. Yuri Perez is pitching for the Marlins. Now, he's only made 1 start this year. He's super young. He's 22 years old. He's got decent stuff. Good movement, good velocity, stuff like that, but he's young. Now, his first start was decent. Granted, he only went 3 innings, but he was hit a little bit harder off of lefties than he was off of righties. Granted, it's a tiny sample size. I mean, we're talking 9 batters faced. but he gave up the hard contact he gave up was to lefty, right? Triple hit off of a lefty. Slugging was higher, WOBA higher. Again, it's a small sample size, so you don't really want to put that much into it. The only thing that I know is that he throws that four seamer like half the time, 55% of the time when he's facing a left-handed hitter. And James Wood destroys four-seam fastballs. He has all year. 40% barrel rate on the year. This is the last 30 days, excuse me. 40% barrel rate, 80% hard hit rate. And then on the season, 30% barrel rate, 85% hard hit rate. ISO rate, 500 against four-seam fastballs from righties. And he's hit righties a lot better than Yuri Perez. Granted, Perez might end up being an ace, right? He's young, he's got good stuff. He might end up being an ace, but James Wood has taken four-seam fastballs yard from a lot of pitchers on the year, and his numbers are just phenomenal, as I just showed you. And the ground ball rate, on the year, 50%, last 30 days is actually a little bit better, down 47%. Granted, slightly down, but still down. So James Wood, plus 420, plus 410, plus 400, whatever you can get. That is our first play. Feeling pretty good about James Wood to hit a home run. Next up, our second pick of the evening. Give me Juan Soto, Han Solo, to hit a home run. He is best offered technically at no vig. So for those of you that use the exchanges, you can get him on no vig at 492. That's what I locked in myself. That was the bet that I placed. But if you can't use no vig, you can get 475 basically at a couple books: ESPN Bet, Fanatics, DraftKings, and also Bet365. So if you use any of those four books, you can take it at 475, and I am also tracking it myself at 475. So the no vig is not fair to price it at that number because it's not available to a lot of people, especially, nobody outside of the US can get 492, and not everybody in the US can get 492. So I'm not tracking it at that number, even though that is what I actually placed, because I just don't find that fair. So the biggest thing for Juan Soto is this pitching matchup here against Shane Baz. He pitches for the Rays. He's one of the worst home run pitchers in all of baseball. Like, you look at his last 5 starts, home run every 15 and a half at-bats. That's terrible. You look at this entire season, this entire year, home run every 20 at-bats. That's pretty bad for the entire season. And then again, he's just gotten worse recently, like his last 5 weeks, which is about his last 5 starts. It's gotten worse. Now, he is slightly worse against righties. I will admit the worst pitch for him is the slider, but he's not good against lefties either, with his worst pitch being the four-seam fastball. And I looked it up. Shane Baz, because he pitches for the Rays, I wanted to make sure that he didn't have a bad home run per 9 and only his home starts, right? Because the Rays, they play at that very, very hitter-friendly park with the tiny right field. So yeah, maybe a right-handed pitcher is going to have a worse home run per 9 than he should. His home run per 9 is worse away than it is at home. So nothing really doing there. And then Juan Soto, he had some trouble with his lift this year. And if you look at his numbers, ground ball rate, 58%, that's terrible. Fly ball rate, 20%, that's terrible. It's been better recently. We're looking at the last 30 days. You look at his last 14 days, that number has been up. He had a stretch where he hit a home run, I think in 2 or 3 straight games. He hasn't had home runs since then, but he's still hitting the ball very, very hard. Yesterday, he had 4 hard hits. He had 2 hard hits and a barrel the day before that. So we're getting Juan Soto when he's hot at the plate. And Shane Baz, the biggest thing for him against lefties, as I showed you, is that four-seamer. He throws it almost 60% of the time. Soto has incredible numbers against the four-seam fastball, and he's been able to hit the four-seamer his entire career. Last year when he was on the Yankees, insane numbers against the four-seamer. He hasn't been as good against the four-seamer this year, but he's still been good. You look at the last 30 days, barrel rate 15% against the four-seam fastball from righties. Yes, a high ground ball rate, but it's lower than what it had been. And the line drive rate is up, and the hard hit rate is literally above 100%. I don't know how that makes sense, to be completely honest with you. I don't know how you can have a hard hit rate above 100%, but he absolutely destroys four-seam fastballs. That's in the last 30 days. On the entire season, still a good barrel rate of about 16%, 15.9%. Still a good hard hit rate. An amazing hard hit rate of 86%. Yes, the ground ball rate is a little bit high, but again, we can accept that when he's hitting the ball as hard as he is. So the 22%, the 50% roughly that he's going to hit either a fly ball or a line drive, it's going to be much better when he's annihilating the baseball. And last year isn't super helpful. Different team, different season. But last year, he really had incredible numbers against the four-seamer. That barrel rate went up to 28%. Hard hit rate was down, but the fly ball rate was way up. So again, that you don't want to put too much stock into that because that's last year. But if you just look at the entirety of Juan Soto's career, he's had really, really, really good numbers against the four-seam fastball consistently. This is like the worst start of a year that he's had. I mean, not that that's I shouldn't say that. This is if the numbers he had right now ended the season with his numbers against the four-seam fastball, it would be among the worst in his career. So my guess is that it's only going to go up, especially when he's been hot at the plate like he is. I did also like Pete Alonso to hit a home run. The reason I didn't go with him is the home run pitch for Shane Baz against a righty is actually his slider as opposed to his four-seamer. And Pete Alonso doesn't have great numbers against a slider from a righty. Like his barrel rate, you look at the last 30 days. The barrel rate is 20%. That's good. The hard hits rate's also 20%. That's not a great, that does not great, not great foreshadowing for the future. I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but you kind of get what I mean. If every single time he hit the ball hard, it was also a barrel, that's just not something you can consistently count on. And then on the entire year against the slider, the hard hit rate is 40% and the barrel rate is 12%, which isn't terrible, but you would hope that it's a little bit better in terms of from a pitch mix perspective. Like you want the 28% barrel rate like he has against the four-seam fastball. You want the 16% that Soto has, or the 30% that James Wood had. So, and also the odds were kind of stinky on Pete Alonso as well. I think they're like his best odds. Alonso were like plus. It's not showing Bet365, but it was like plus 320. And the park for the Mets is slightly positive, slightly red, depending where you look for home runs. Slightly in the green according to Weather Edge, and then slightly in the red, or actually much in the red according to Ballpark Pal. So they don't like the weather in this one, but it's not as bad at Weather Edge. It's actually slightly in the positive. So a little bit of a disagreement there. But regardless, I like Juan Soto a lot to hit a home run. That's at, again, plus 475 is what I'm tracking it at, plus 492 if you can use no VIG. That's play number 2. And then our third and final pick of the video is Zach Nato. We're taking him, Sharknado, taking Zach Nato to hit a home run. He is offered at a very nice price of plus 600 odds to hit a home run. And I believe even better, you can get an even better price. So went down on James Wood, went up on Zach Nato. You can get him at plus 630 to hit a home run. I just am tracking what I sent it out at. This was sent to my Tails account. But 630 is even better than plus 600. The thing with the Angels guys is they're going up against a lefty in Kade Povich, and a lefty that is gettable. You look at him, I think in his last 30 days, if I remember correctly, he's not terrible. Looking at Kade Povich over his last 30 days against righties, yeah, it's not terrible on his last 5 starts, but you look at him on the year, and a home run every 22 at-bats or so to a righty. That's not terrible, but it's definitely not good. And his barrel rate numbers, 10%, bad. 50% hard hit rate, bad. So even though recently he hasn't been getting smoked in terms of home runs by righties, I mean, even his barrel rate, according to Plate IQ, against righties in the last 30 days, 15%. That's really bad, according to Game Day Insights, because the numbers are tracked a little bit differently. Barrel rate against righties, 10%. 59, almost 60% hard hit rate. Yeah, the K rate is high, admittedly, but still, those are not great numbers. And the fly ball rate isn't even that low either. So just because the fact that he's only allowed 1 home run to a righty in his last 5 starts, that's not going to be anything that's going to scare me off. And the Angels have a couple of guys that hit lefties pretty hard. Travis d'Arnaud, granted, he's kind of come on recently. He's got good numbers against lefties, 21% barrel rate. Taylor Ward has good numbers against lefties, 19% barrel rate, and then coming in third is Zach Nato at 18%. That's really good. Looking at the last 30 days, also 18% barrel rate against lefties. That's really good. The biggest pitch for Povich, as you saw, the four-seam fastball is the only home run he allowed to a righty in his last 5 starts. And then you look at the entire season. Granted, it's going to be more because he throws it more, but 4 of his 8 home runs have been hit off of the four-seam fastball. And Zach Nato has really, really good numbers against the four-seamer, especially recently. So like we're looking at his individual game log, pitch log, whatever you want to call it, against the four-seamer from a lefty is what we want to look at. And The last couple times he's made contact over the last month, 97.5. So this one is low. 87.5 is low. 96.3, hard hit, hard hit. 103.6, 105.5, 98.4. And I don't know why. And actually, no, you want to go in the opposite order. There we go. So this is making it look a lot better. These are the last 3 times the ball, an out was recorded off of his four-seam fastball. Or I should say when Zach Neto made contact with the four-seam fastball. 98.4, 105.5, 103.6. Just absolutely smoked. So he's got really good numbers. You look at the entire year. Obviously, we're not going to look at a 3-day, 3-game, 3-pitch log here. 20% barrel rate over the last 30 days, granted in a tiny sample size. On the entire season, 22% tied with Joe Adell for the best numbers. But look at that fly ball rate. 56% of the time he makes contact with a four-seam fastball. It's put in the air. 2/3 of the time, it's considered a hard hit. Only a 11% ground ball rate. That is really, really, really good. That's what he's going to see 40, 50% of the time from Kade Povich. And that's also the biggest home run pitch as well. And he also just hits lefties well. So I really like going with Zach Neto to hit a home run. Again, that's best offered plus, technically now plus 630 at FanDuel. I do want to give a shout out. The other 2 guys that I pretty heavily considered that also look good are Taylor Ward and Joe Adell. Now, Adell has been red hot over the last 2 weeks. It's actually been better against righties. Adell has been. And Taylor Ward is kind of the opposite, where he hasn't really been that hot recently, but he has really good numbers against lefties. Nato was the only one that kind of hit both categories in that he's been good recently, and he's been good against lefties recently. And then Trout, surprisingly, hits righties a lot harder than he hits lefties. So my official play is going to be Zach. I'm just going to call him Zach from now on, with Taylor Ward and Joe Adell as 2 leans. And then I also have Pete Alonso as a lean as well. But I'm only tracking the 3 official guys that I played, which is Zach Neto, Juan Soto, and James Wood. Taking all 3 of them to hit a home run. If we can go 3 for 3 today, we'll profit 3.74 units. That would be amazing. If one of these guys hits a home run, we will at least be in the green for the day, giving ourselves 2 days in a row in the green, which would also be nice. But that's all we got. So I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to bet responsibly, and have a good one.